Hey, well, tonight I'm angry because I don't know who can start a war. And I'm talking about from our side. Is it the president who's allowed to declare war on a foreign country? Is it the vice president? Is it the Congress? Is it some other party? No, it is the Congress. The law is quite clearly established. Only the Congress can declare war on a foreign adversary, and it is left to the president's discretion as to how to wage that war. But over the last couple of decades, we've seen this responsibility completely shirked by Congress. I mean, when they passed the authorization for the quote-unquote war on terror in 2001, no one imagined that 20 years later, that vaguely worded authorization would still be used to wage war wherever we chose, whether it's Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, Syria, or apparently Sudan, or anywhere else that we think appropriate. There is a time for war. There is a time when our interests are threatened, and it's appropriate that we have that response. But the law is quite clear that Congress is the only entity that can declare war. And what's so ironic is that in 1991, Joe Biden himself, the individual who, as president, just recently attacked a sovereign land without congressional organization, Joe Biden himself in 1991 was making the argument that the president did not have the right to unilaterally declare war. As a matter of fact, he pointed out why the United States wanted to declare its independence from Britain so that they wouldn't have one man, i.e. the King of England, able to declare war. Joe Biden also pointed out that those who claim that having to wait for Congress to declare war might inhibit the president, might make him less likely to go to war, to which Joe Biden responded that was a good thing. And I have to agree with him. I mean, I have 2 military-aged children. I'm certainly not in favor of going to war unless we ourselves are invaded. I certainly wouldn't want my children's lives to be sacrificed on the pyre of empire building or regime change in Syria or elsewhere. And unfortunately, the issue is even more clouded than that, because it's not just between the president and the Congress as to who can declare war. Apparently these days, the vice president is taking a very active role. I don't know if you're aware of the fact that recently Kamala Harris had a phone conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu concerning Iran and Israel specifically, and Netanyahu told her that Israel was determined that Iran was never going to achieve a nuclear weapon, even if Israel had to bomb them itself, even if Israel did it without the world's approval. And Kamala Harris was the representative of the US speaking to this head of state of a foreign country. Where is Joe Biden? This is the concern. This has been the concern for many of us over the last year. If you look at Joe Biden and how quick-witted he was, how funny he was, how quick on his feet he was just 5-6 years ago compared to the way he is today, you can realize that the man is failing. And I take no joy in seeing someone get old and start to show signs of mental wear and tear. God knows I'm getting old myself. But Congress shares my concern that a man of that age would single-handedly have the ability to launch the nuclear weapons, because Congress apparently is asking that the president voluntarily relinquish his sole authority to launch nuclear weapons. I doubt that they'd be doing that if the president had their full faith and confidence. We were warned back during the inception of this country of the dangers of a standing army, of the dangers that a standing army posed to the domestic populace. Now we have a standing army in DC. We have a military force in the capital of the country, and based on a report that was just delivered to Nancy Pelosi, it is recommended that there be a permanent military force in the capital. A permanent military force in the capital. One wonders who they are protecting Congress from. The military is a force in this country. The military-industrial complex 60 years ago was a force so powerful that an outgoing president warned against it. The military is the most powerful military in the world today, but our expansionist policies have only helped to drive our enemies together, and I'm talking specifically about Russia and China. We need to have a steady hand at the helm. We need to know that we are a civilization that respects norms and laws, and our laws state clearly that only the Congress has the authority to declare war. Now, with a weakened president, we don't know if the Congress has the ability to declare war. We don't know if the vice president has the ability to declare war. We don't know know if the president on his own initiative can declare war or fire nuclear weapons, and we have a military force occupying Washington, D.C. Isn't it time we took a look at civilian control of the military? Isn't it time that we started to worry about the military's influence in our political landscape? Isn't it time we started to worry about how hugely influential military spending is to our domestic economy? It may be getting too late for us all to wake up.